Hello everyone, this is Uncle Yeow and the Singapore Story. Now today we are at Singapore Discovery Centre, home of the Singapore Story. Now today I'm going to do a special edition and pay special tribute to a man we have known for many years. Now he's none other than our former Prime Minister Hsien Loong. Okay. Now Mr. Lee has been in public service for the last 40 years. And he has served the country with distinction. And he has contributed unstintingly and also sacrificed a lot, especially the last 20 years of which he was our Prime Minister. Now, what have he done for Singapore together with his 3G team? Now, these are some of his accomplishments. Okay, very important. There were some crises, ups and downs that we have gone through. Some of the major ones, for example, the collapse of the Lehman Brothers in 2008, 2009, that account for the world financial crisis, and we suffered along with the rest of the world. But Mr. Lee and his 3G team took drastic action and quickly pulled us through with significant achievements. So much so that by 2010, we have made significant improvement, and in fact, our GDP rebounded back very strongly. So this is one of the major crises that we have gone through. Now, the other crisis was actually in 2019, when we had what is called COVID-19, all right? Like the rest of the world, we suffered badly during the pandemic, but we were the first to have a circuit breaker instead of a lockdown, although people were unhappy, but we were quick to act. In fact, Singapore was the first country to actually place our orders for vaccination, for vaccines, even before it was manufactured. So in that way, we were able to get stocks of the vaccine very early on, and then we took our people out of COVID-19. All right, and then we learned a lot of lessons. In fact, many other countries all take Singapore as a classic case study in terms of tackling the pandemic, COVID-19. So this is again, and not only that, COVID-19 was also actually a test for our 4G leaders. They were put through a baptism of fire. And I dare say that the 4G leaders came through quite brilliantly, and they learned from that particular experience. And we also gelled the 4G team together. So they are now able to take us through to the next phase. Now, some of the other accomplishments, for example, very important was the Marina Bay Sands, the two integrated resorts that were built, all right, Marina Bay Sands and also the Resort World Sentosa. Now, these two integrated resorts is actually an euphemism for casino. What do I mean by that? Now, in the past, casino was a taboo because why? Our first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew was dead against gambling. And he even mentioned, over my dead body, if you are ever going to build a casino. But Prime Minister Lee took it to a different level. First of all, he developed a new concept known as integrated resort. What do you mean by integrated resort? It is actually a mixed development. You have attractions, you have hotels, you have F&B, you have shopping, you even have MICE, convention centers. So all these things put together, the casino portion is actually less than 2%. And not only that, to tackle the problem of gambling for Singaporeans, we instituted strict laws. Singaporeans can be blacklisted from going to the casino. Not only that, for Singaporeans, if you want to visit the casino every day, it's $100. Now it's increased to $150 a day. So imagine, before you start out, you already lose money. So because of all these measures, in the end, Lee Kuan Yew relented. And I was very surprised. We not only built one, we actually built two integrated resorts. Marina Bay Sands, Resort World Sentosa. Now, these two particular integrated resorts accounts for 20,000 new jobs. It accounts for more than 2% of our GDP every year. So it speaks a lot in terms of how we actually bounce back. All right, in terms of our tourism trade, in terms of finance, in terms of hotels, F&B, and so on. So these are, and not only that, if you remember, we also had the Yeow, Changi Airport, which is again another iconic tourist attraction. Now this Marina Bay Sands and resort and the Yeow at Changi, it was actually designed by the same architect, Moshe Shavdi, who was actually an Israeli Canadian. Now he's a very famous architect and he brought these two designs together for Singapore to make Singapore really a very world-renowned resort location for tourists. And of course, last but not least, we had our Gardens by the Bay. All right. And this was actually developed and opened in 2012. Now, Gardens by the Bay has taken our concept of a garden city to the next level. We are now known as a city in a garden. So, Prime Minister Lee has contributed immensely together with his 3G team to our Singapore economy over the last 20 years. Now, this despite the fact that he has actually gone through 2 rounds of cancer. Now, nobody else in the world, not any other leader, would have done the same. A lot of them would have probably just stepped down and take it easy, but not Mr. Lee. And even today, after he has stepped down, he will still remain in the 4G cabinet as a senior minister. So he's always on hand to help out Lawrence Wong and the team and the new team. So for that, we should be thankful. And I want to take this special opportunity on this particular YouTube video, Uncle Yeow and the Singapore Story, to pay our tribute and salute to Prime Minister Hsien Loong. Thank you, sir.